I stopped doing late night appliance deliveries after sometimes happened outside Jackson, Mississippi in November of 2021. It was not even my real job. During the day, I worked maintenance at an apartment complex near Clinton, and on weekends, I helped a used appliance warehouse called Metro Wholesale Outlet. They sold scratched refrigerators, washers, dryers, and random stuff bought from Lowe's returns and storage auctions. The owner paid cash every night, so I kept doing it longer than I probably should have. Most deliveries were normal trailer parks outside Pearl, apartments near Raymond Road, small houses with barking dogs and broken porch lights. Sometimes people acted strange, but that just came with delivery jobs. The thing I still think about happened on a Thursday night. It was cold for Mississippi, not snow cold, just that damp November cold where empty parking lots feel even quieter after dark. We closed the warehouse around 7, but the owner overloaded the truck again, so deliveries ran late. My coworker Devin was supposed to help me finish the route, but his girlfriend picked him up after they got into some argument over the phone. So I ended up alone for the last two stops. The final delivery was somewhere south of Jackson near Terry Road, close to where the city slowly turns into woods and scattered trailer parks. I remember stopping at the Chevron near McDowell Road because my phone battery was at 12%. I bought one of those cheap gas station chargers hanging near counter that barely work. The cashier was watching college football on a tiny television mounting above the cigarette shelves. Nobody else was inside except a guy buying beer and lottery tickets. While sitting in the parking lot, I checked the invoice again. The address looked incomplete. Old Pine View Apartments, Building C. That was it. No apartment number. I called the customer twice while sitting there. Both calls went straight to voicemail. Normally, I would have told the owner I could not complete the delivery, but he was already irritated because two refrigerators got scratched earlier that week, and somehow everything always became somebody else's fault. I figured I would at least drive there and see if somebody was waiting outside. The apartment complex was maybe 15 minutes farther south. You had to turn off Terry Road onto this cracked side road that passed a closed daycare and an abandoned church chicken with plywood over the windows. My GPS kept rerouting because of road construction near one of the intersections. I almost missed the entrance because the apartment sign was barely visible. Half the letters were burned out. It only said Pine Apps. The complex itself looked almost empty, not abandoned exactly, just quiet in a way that felt wrong, like people technically lived there, but nobody wanted to be outside after dark. A few porch lights were on. One balcony had Christmas lights hanging even though it was still early November. There were maybe 6 or 7 cars total in the entire parking lot. I parked beside building C and left the truck running because I figured this would take 5 minutes. Nobody was outside. I checked the invoice again. Still no apartment number. So I called the customer one more time. This time somebody answered immediately. But they did not say hello. At first, I only heard movement, shuffling sounds. Then a quiet male voice said, "You made it?" I said, "Yeah, I am outside building C. I need the apartment number." There was a long silence. Then he said, "Backside, ground floor." That was all. I asked, "Which apartment specifically?" He just repeated, "Backside." Then the call disconnected. I should have left right there, honestly. But when you do delivery work long enough, people acting strange on the phone stops feeling unusual, especially late at night. So I grabbed the dolly and walked behind building C. The backside of the building faced thick woods, no fence or anything, just trees, maybe 30 feet behind the apartments. There were 4 ground floor units back there. None had visible numbers. Half the exterior lights were burned out. One apartment door was slightly open. Not fully open, maybe 3 inches. Light was coming from inside. I remember standing there thinking maybe they saw me walking around the building and opened the door for the delivery. So I knocked lightly and said, "Delivery?" Nothing. Then from somewhere deeper inside the apartment, not near the door, but farther back, somebody quietly said, "Bring it in." The voice sounding strange somehow, not threatening, more distracted, like they were talking to somebody else and not really focused on me. I pushed the door open farther. The apartment smelled strange immediately. Not rotten exactly, more like mildew mixed with cigarette smoke and something metallic underneath. The living room barely had furniture, just a recliner, an unplugged television sitting on the floor. and stacks of bottled water against one wall. No decoration, no family photos, nothing that made the place feel normal. And what stood out most was how quiet it was. Usually, apartments have background noise, televisions, dogs barking, neighbors arguing, traffic outside, something. This place was completely silent, except for what sounding like a washing machine running somewhere deeper in the apartment. I said, "Where do you want the washer?" No response. I took maybe three more steps inside. Then I noticed mud on the floor. Fresh mud. Wet footprints leading from the hallway toward the kitchen. And the weird thing was they looked barefoot. I remember staring at them because it made no sense with how cold it was outside. Then the washing machine sound stopped, completely stopped. Right after that, I heard another sound deeper in the apartment. A phone vibrating against wood over and over. I do not know why, but that was the moment I started feeling uncomfortable enough to leave. Not panic exactly, just a strong feeling that I was somewhere I should not be. I backed toward the door and called out, "Hey man, I need help unloading this thing anyway." Nothing. Then I hear footsteps upstairs, not inside the apartment, above it. Slow footsteps moving across the ceiling. I remember thinking maybe I had the wrong apartment after all. So I stepped back outside. And that was when I noticed somebody sitting inside a parked car across the lot. The car had not been there earlier. It was an older silver Impala parked facing me with the headlights off. I could not clearly see the driver, but I could tell they were watching me directly, not casually, fully facing me. I stood there pretending to adjust the dolly while trying to decide if I was overthinking everything. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Same voice as before. "You went to the wrong apartment." I looked back toward the open door behind me and said, "You told me backside ground floor." "You told me backside ground floor." He ignored that. Then he asked, Who is in the parking lot? That caught me off guard. I turned toward the Impala again. The driver's door slowly opened. Not all the way, just enough for somebody inside to lean out slightly. The voice on the phone suddenly sounded nervous. Leave now. Then the call disconnected again.